Happy New Year, Boro fans. Welcome to BoroFanTV and the third half with your new host and hopefully in the hot seat and having a longer shelf life than Gary Monk, James Hutchinson. And I've got a guest with me tonight, Josh. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Nice to meet you.
Follower for 15 years.
Yeah, just about anyway, what
Fantastic.
I can remember.
Some of it good, some of it not so good.
Yeah, definitely.
Last 3 weeks been a bit of a rollercoaster, Boro fans. We've seen a lot of unexpected twists and turns down at the Riverside. And hopefully over the next 30 minutes we might be able to capture some of those things that have happened over the last 3 weeks and talk about the new era with Tony Pulis. So we'll start at the beginning. December the 23rd, Sheffield Wednesday away, Josh.
Yeah.
Positive result. What was your take on the day?
Well, first half, we were 1-0 down at half-time, weren't we? And it was like, here we go again. And then one of Boro's best second-half performances of the season. We win 2-1. Unlikely goal scoring, Ryan shot in.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're all coming out the ground feeling happy, or everyone's thinking, yeah, it was an alright result. And then 4 hours later you see the news on Twitter. Everyone's like, has the Boro page been hacked?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shock, wasn't it? But
it was unbelievable. Like I say, Gary Monk himself after the game came out and said best performance of the season.
Yeah.
So to sack a manager after what was seen as the best performance of the season, we were only 3 points away from the playoffs. You said there you were shocked. Were you shocked by Gary Monk sacking that night, Josh?
I'd have done it the week before, or couple of weeks before, when we lost 2-0 to Bristol. Well, we lost to Bristol City, didn't we? We lost to Millwall away. Those were really poor performances. Mm-hmm. The fact it was our best away performance of the season and we still weren't that great says a lot about Gary Monk's reign, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wasn't much going on, but I'd have sacked him. But it was a weird time to do it after a win.
Yeah. Even though we're only 3 points from the playoffs at the time we sacked him, we're in 8th place, which is roughly where we still are now. Yeah. You still think it was the right decision by Steve Gibson to replace Gary Monk?
Yeah, definitely. Start of the season, you're spending £50 million. You've got the likes of Vasson Belonga. You expect a lot more. With Gary Monk, it was shoehorning players in, fitting people in places that they couldn't really play, and it was just a bit desperate. People talk about a plan A, the plan B. There wasn't even a plan A in the first place. Yeah. So it was all a bit confusing. I think rumours that players didn't really know where they wanted to be played, what Gary Monk wanted from them. So it didn't really surprise me. Obviously the timing after a win was a bit weird, because you don't expect that from Steve Gibson.
No, and that's I think what threw me a little bit. I find it on one hand strange that they got rid of the manager when they did, and like you say, Steve Gibson doesn't have form for getting rid of managers early. He's often described as being too loyal, but also it seems as though for whatever reason, I don't know if you might have an opinion on this, Josh, that the fans never seem to really take the Gary Monk. Is that a fair thing to say? That there seemed to be a funny
There was a lot
relationship.
Of press conferences that were quite robotic. His tweets, he got a lot of stick for his Twitter, even though it's a PR team probably running it. He didn't really connect with the fans. Karanka connected with the fans straight away. He wanted everyone on side. And the first thing you hear Tony Pulis talk about is the steelworks. Yeah. And the fans love that, don't they? Yeah. Talk about the steel, and he talks about how his area where he's from connects with the fans, and he knew exactly what to say. He probably told Gary Monk didn't connect with fans, connect with him, and he think he's done that instantly with his first press conference, to be honest.
Fair point. So I'd be interested to hear what the viewers think about this as well. Obviously, the change in manager, and do you think Gary Monk was sacked at the right time and the change in manager taking place? Obviously, we've had managers in the past like Murdoch, Strachan, who got more time than Monk. So could you say Gary Monk was treated unfairly, or do you think this was what was needed now to save our season and hopefully lead the Boro back into the Premier League? So we went from Sheffield Wednesday, 3 points, like we said there. Everybody was buzzing, really happy about that, Josh. Craig Liddell, Jonathan Woodgate put in charge for the Bolton Wanderers game to oversee things for that match. Yeah. Did you think that was a fair gig to give them for that one match, or would you have stuck with Monk?
Yeah, I think it was just a case of we knew Pulis was coming in, so just get anyone in to sort that game out. And obviously the players were talking that Pulis came in at half-time and he gave him a talking to, made a substitution, took Fabio off, put George Friend on. And that doesn't really surprise me, because George Friend is more of a Pulis player. I think he tried to sign him when he was at West Brom. Yeah. And he wants a big back four, he wants them to defend, and obviously we came out second half and we were a bit better than we were first, so his half-time team talk definitely affected them.
So that's it, before the game, Tony Pulis was put in charge and announced as the club's new manager. Yeah. A routine 2-0 win. Were you happy with Pulis getting the job?
Yeah, I think I said straight away as soon as he signed, we needed someone who was going to give us like some sort of direction to go in, because we were talking before we came on. He was playing 5 attackers and just hoping for the best. Where Pulis knows what he wants. He wants a strong team. He knows his formations. Whereas Gary Monk was changing it week in, week out. Yeah. One week we'd win, and then the next week it'd be a completely different team. We didn't really know what was going on.
It was almost as though you didn't know what you were going to get with the team and with Gary Monk's set up, and you weren't quite sure how they were going to go. Now I think people sort of think, right, with Pulis, we know what we're going to get.
Well, we've got the foundations in place. Obviously, the year we went up, we had the best defence in the whole top 4 flights of English football. Yeah. And the same players are here. We've got Ben Gibson, who's rated so highly. Danny Ayala was arguably our best defender of the year. We got promoted, and probably the best defender in the whole championship. Yeah. George Friend, obviously, is losing a bit of form at the minute, but I thought on Saturday against Sunderland, it's probably his best performance since he came back into the side. And
I think what's interesting is maybe players that maybe fallen out of favour a month ago now seem to be quite popular, or seem to be coming back into form. You've mentioned Ayala. Traore seems to have got a new lease of life, which we'll talk about in a minute as well. But it just seems as though players that maybe lost a little bit of confidence or were out of form seem to have responded to the new manager.
Yeah, so you sometimes get that, and I think Pulis was talking, you sometimes get a false sort of kick from the players, so he needs a few months to assess it. But the players are going to put the performances in, and we're going to get the wins. It's what you like to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
But obviously, there's a lot of players who will get the chance because he wants to see everyone. Ryan Shottens came in at right back, which was quite unexpected, but obviously Pulis, long throws.
Yeah, he suits exactly what he wants, doesn't he? And he wants a big back line there, so maybe, yes, I can see why George is in at the minute. We'll talk about transfers as well in a little bit. After Bolton, though, came a big game, Villa, and it almost, that day for me, Josh, it had a feeling like it was almost like a big Premier League game type thing.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a cagey game between two teams who were pretty similarly matched. Yeah. I think also both teams have underachieved a little bit so far this season.
Yeah.
And we were on the wrong end of a 1-0 scoreline, close game.
Yeah.
But I thought what was interesting after the game was some of Pulis's observations, things like slow build-up play mentioned, and he also mentioned about our movement off the ball not being what it should be. Again, do you think they're fair points? I mean, you've watched them as much as I have this season, Josh. Do you think they're things which Boro fans have identified as being a problem this season?
Yeah, we have been slow, like not creative enough, and but I think even though we lost that game, there was a lot of positives, because you actually came out the game and there was some sort of plan there, and you could tell what Pulis was trying to do. It was the first sign of the long balls, but not necessarily like the bad type of long ball, anti-football. It was like direct, and we were getting forward. But yeah, it was just one of them days really where, but there was lots of positives to take out of the game, even though we lost.
Definitely. So we lost that game against a big rival, a team that's going to be up there. I think Villa will be up there. I think they could be probably pushing for top 2.
They went on and battered Bristol City, didn't they?
So that shows the capabilities of their team, and they've also got a good squad. And from there, it was on to Deepdale, Preston, New Year's Day. Again, some surprises with the lineup with some of the players that he left out. Left out Shotton, Gusted, Braithwaite. He brought in Christy Guardiola, the forgotten man.
Yeah, which was a bit of a mad one, wasn't it? Yeah,
and Traore. What were your reactions when you saw the team that day, Josh?
I remember thinking, it's a weird one that he's put Guardiola in, especially at the start. He thought he just came off the bench because he hadn't played football in nearly a year and a half, really, and he's been out with a long injury. I was quite excited to see Traore in, and you can tell from the first few games already that he's going to like Traore, even if it's his ability to win free kicks up in the pitch, because he obviously was. That game we scored 2 headers, Danny Ayala. Yeah. So he's going to like the set pieces, and Traore's got the ability to just run past someone, get tripped over, and we've got a free kick. Yeah. And obviously his dangers on the counter attack, and he showed again on Saturday. Great through ball to Gusted, used his pace. And I think it's exciting to see that Pulis. We haven't had a manager who's put that much faith in Traore. He's been in and out the side, and if he had one bad game, and he's dropped, and you sometimes forget that he's a young 21-year-old.
Yeah, he's still learning his way, isn't he?
If he was from Middlesbrough, there might be a different reaction towards him, a homegrown lad. Yeah. Everyone might love him, but because he's not, he got a bit of stick, but he's still a young lad, and he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah. Can I just take some of these questions in from some of the viewers? I've got one of you from Jacob Ross. With Fabio's departure, who would you both like to see come in as a replacement for Boro? Or would you rather have one of our own academy players coming through, like McGinley or Coulson? What do you think about that? Well, it's a big ask to bring someone from the academy straight into a championship team.
I think George Friend is guaranteed to be our main left back. Whether he chooses to bring someone like Chris Brunt in from West Brom, who can obviously play at left back, he can play
players
on the
that
wing.
he knows.
Yeah, players that he knows. Someone like Chris Brunt might come in. I mean, it would be nice to see a homegrown player come through, but sometimes it's not possible.
No.
But it would be nice if they get a chance, maybe in the FA Cup next round, see who we get.
Not a bad shout, not a bad shout at all. Just one or two other ones here. We've got Tony Guest. Players had no respect for Monk first time since Strachan. Gibson's gone for an experienced manager. Pulis is bigger than any player in his dressing room and has got instant respect from the players. Do you think that's a fair point?
Yeah, I think it's a manager. Monk, you come in and you're like, oh, I'm not going to listen to him, I'm not bothered. Where Pulis, you're going to be like, oh, God.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can imagine. And again, just on the terraces at Deepdale on New Year's Day, people were saying he'll be going absolutely through them like a dose of salt in that dressing room at half-time. And pretty much the second half, you saw an instant response. Like we were saying earlier on. He made a change within 4 or 5 minutes of the second half. Yeah. We were 2-1 down. We were lucky to be only 2-1 down, if truth be told, Josh. Yeah,
could have been 3 or 4. Totally. Randolph made a few great saves.
He did. He made some fantastic saves. And again, he made those changes. Would Gary Monk have been brave enough to make those changes and the changes that Pulis made, do you think?
We were talking before we came on, weren't we, about the type of changes that Gary Monk made. He'd sometimes just have 4 attackers on the pitch for the sake of it, whereas he brought Gusted and Bamford on and it made sense. He wanted 2 up front. Assombalonga wasn't threatening enough, and Gary Monk sometimes didn't have the ball to take Assombalonga off because he could get a lot of stick, he cost a lot of money, but Pulis has been bold enough to make them type of decisions, and Gusted and Bamford changed the game. We looked at a completely different team. Obviously, we just had Chef Wed and people saying that was our best away performance. But then you come away from Preston and it's an even better win because we've done it again.
Because they're a good team. I think, is it 2 home games they've lost all season?
They were above us as well.
Good team. I think in the game they played at the Riverside, they were the better team that day and arguably should have won that match. And certainly for 45 minutes last Monday, they were well on top. And like I say, I was impressed with Pulis being able to make the changes, get us playing further up the field, supporting Gusted, and midfield putting pressure on their midfield, and thankfully it got us the 3 points at the end of the game. Also, just things like only 2 points off the playoffs. Do you think top 2's out of reach, Josh?
I think the top spot's out of reach. I think Wolves are flying away with it, but if you look at this season we got promoted, we were top of the league at Christmas, we were 10 points ahead of Burnley and Brighton. And then all of a sudden, last game of the season, you're playing Brighton on level points. But Burnley are 5 points ahead of you. So anything's possible in the Championship. I think Wolves obviously definitely out of it. But we can always... Derby are looking good as well in second place. But they're always catchable. If you just look at Cardiff, the last few games they've lost, and now all of a sudden we're on the heels again. So,
and I think things like maybe Derby, you don't know what the situation's going to be with their manager now. We're Rowett, if other clubs such as Stoke are looking at him as a replacement, will that unsettle their team?
Never know.
Still a long way to go in the season.
Especially in the Championship, anything can happen.
Exactly, so don't write top 2 off just yet, Boro fans. There still might be a chance that we might go up without having to save up to go to Wembley in May, apart from the FA Cup final. Squad 2 big, Tony Pulis also mentioned. Do you think we need to trim that squad a little bit, Josh?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Ashley Fletcher was the first one he mentioned. So he came in 7 million. It was a bit of a surprise at the time. Like, why is he worth that much money? And he definitely hasn't proved that he's good enough.
Doesn't seem to have worked out for him at all. I think I can only think of maybe the QPR game at home where he changed things a little bit. He came on at half time and he helped turn things around. He scored a goal and I think he had an assist as well. But apart from that, it's been difficult for him, hasn't it?
Definitely not for 7 million. I remember I went to the Hull away game. I remember him coming on there and he was winning the odd free kick, which was useful when you were 3-1 up and you just needed to kill a bit of time, but he's never looked like a goal threat, which is what you'd want from a £7 million striker. So, and then Pulis said straight away, didn't he, about the squad size? He wants more of a togetherness, and with a large squad, people fighting for players, not playing week in, week out, there's definitely room to cut it down a bit.
Definitely. And players have already gone. Connor Roberts has gone back.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me. A couple of half-decent performances in the Cup, but again, it was just another signing by Gary Monk that didn't really make a lot of sense. We already had, obviously, we just signed Christie for a lot of money. He was never going to be first choice. And we even had Fabio at the time who could play right back if we needed to.
That's right.
For me, it would have made more sense to bring a young right back through our own academy rather than sign someone from Swansea.
Again, I think he played at Leeds, didn't he? And I don't think the back line had a good game that day.
No, it was one of them we suffered all season with crosses going in at the back post, and the full-backs were culpable for it. Yeah.
Another question from a certain James Lees here. I'm not quite sure where he is. But yeah, he's asked thoughts on Karanka going to Forest. Boro fans, if you've not heard the news today, Aitor Karanka has apparently been offered the Nottingham Forest job. Do you wish him luck?
Yeah, definitely. We had good few seasons that year in the playoff final. Was probably the best season I've had following Boro in recent years. Yeah. Beat Man City in the Cup, beat Man United in the Cup. It was always enjoyable. Yeah. We got promotion, no matter how much we did it. And we've had some fun times. But it's a weird one because obviously he's had one of the best chairmen in football at Boro, Forest. Obviously a big club and they've got a lot of potential. Beat Arsenal the other night, of course, but it's going to be a difficult one for him. Yeah. Do they have the funds that he got at Middlesbrough? Yeah.
We've got a lot of good young players. If you watched them yesterday, Brereton and a lot of good young players. But yeah, is the money going to be there for him? Because he did spend the money at the Boro, didn't he, Josh?
Yeah, he did.
He does rely on spending that a bit. Yeah. So moving on from Aitor Karanka, now in the present, Tony Pulis. He's got an 18-month contract. He said today, though, he's come out today that he wants to build something at this club.
A bit like he did at Stoke.
At Stoke, yeah. And I think we're a similar sort of size club to Stoke.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
And I think there's no reason why we can't go into the Premier League and hopefully establish ourselves again there like we did in the late 90s.
Yeah, it's exactly what we need. I said when we signed him, even if we're playing boring football for a few seasons, if it works, we get in the Premier League, then we can go and do what Stoke did. They got Mark Hughes in. Yeah. For the past couple of seasons, they've played better football. They had Arnautovic, Shaqiri, Bojan, and they've changed their style of play. And it's only this season that they're struggling a bit. But if we can get up, solidify ourselves as a Premier League club again, perfect. What more can you ask for?
No, sounds good. Sounds good. What we're all hoping for.
Yeah.
Type of players. I'm not going to put you in a spot with exact players because that's a big question to answer. But what do you think? What sort of areas, Josh, do you think Tony Pulis will be looking at addressing in this transfer window?
Before Tony Pulis came in, we were crying out for a centre attacking midfielder, a bit like Ramirez. Obviously, Ramirez came in and he got us over the line in the promotion season. So we were crying out for a creative player. I can see him going for another winger, maybe, because obviously he really likes Traore, loved his pace. But maybe, I've seen Ollie Burke maybe linked from West Brom and he'd be the type of fit that would come in. Maybe
Grusicki from Hull.
Someone
like that, yeah.
And then maybe a central midfielder, more of a creative central midfielder. Obviously, we've got Howson and Ledbetter doing the dirty work at the minute. Yeah. Howson's starting to get goals. Yeah,
I think he's starting to show the sort of form now, that we were hoping we would get when he signed from Norwich in the summer. And I would say, arguably, the last month or two, he's probably been our best centre midfielder. But yeah, he's certainly starting to move in the right direction. I mean, Grant, obviously 32 now, he's still putting the performances in, but the Championship, the nature that it is, it's a lot to ask him to do it.
Yeah, we need a central midfielder that's going to burst in at the box and maybe pop up with the odd header, score a worldie or whatever, but that's what we're really missing, creative central players. Yeah.
Got another one here from Tony Guest. I feel time is up for the likes of Clayton, Forshaw, Bamford. They've had their time here. What do you think about that? Clayton, Forshaw, Bamford?
I definitely agree with Forshaw. I think Bamford still might have a bit to offer because we've seen it. Yeah. And he hasn't really had a run of football. Yeah. Whether he's a Tony Pulis style player, that may be true. Adam Clayton still might have a job to do, but it's been weird one being out in and out the side. But he doesn't really offer more than Howson or Ledbetter, so it's not that much of a surprise. He probably could fit in the Ledbetter role, but I'd definitely have Johnny Howson ahead of him. Yeah. But it could be a case where Tony Pulis brings in another central midfielder of his own choice and then moves Clayton on, because he has been moved to linked to a move to like Leeds and Sheffield United, hasn't he? Yeah. So
I think for me, Bamford, I like the way he links up the play. He is like a link man between the centre midfielders and your forward man if it's Gusted. Yeah. And I would like to find somewhere where we can fit him into the team. For all he hasn't been on form, he hasn't been delivering the goals. I just think by his presence last week at Preston, along with Gusted, that helped change the game. Yeah.
I quite enjoyed as well. He always wins penalties. Yeah, we got the playoff final. Grant Ledbetter was 10 plus goals. Came on again, obviously Sheffield Wednesday, got us a penalty there, which we missed, but that kicked us on to go and win the game. So he's always like nippy in the box and a nightmare to deal with, whether he's just falling over on purpose, but he's capable of winning a penalty, so he might link up nicely with Gusted, you never know.
Joe Scott's asked us here, Josh, as far as transfers go, I'd like to see James Morrison back at the Riverside as he's on the fringes at West Brom.
Yeah, that could be another player. Tony Pulis knows him.
Steady Eddie, isn't he?
Yeah.
Again, he'll do exactly what he's asked to. So again,
that type of player that I've just mentioned, we want someone bursting into the box, getting a few goals, and he's that type of player who can pop up with a header in the box, especially in the Championship. Proven Premier League quality over the past few years. He's a Boro lad, isn't he?
Yeah, so makes sense. I think that would be a good sign, definitely. Well, we've touched on league things. It'd be remiss of us not to talk about beating Sunderland, because you can't get enough of beating Sunderland. So, FA Cup. First of all, the FA Cup in general, how do you feel about the FA Cup and Boro being in it this year?
Yeah.
And how do you want us to progress in it?
I love a cup run, obviously. It's not always the priority, but I hate the cliche when you're knocked out. Let's concentrate on the league. Because there's nothing more memorable than winning a cup. Obviously, our biggest memory in our history, winning the Carling Cup or getting to the final of the UEFA Cup. So you always love a cup run. You remember it more than promotion.
Definitely.
You remember it more than losing at Swansea in the Premier League. So definitely love a cup run. So next round, Newport at home. Get us into the 5th round. All the Geordies, and we can embarrass them.
Who would you like to see us get in the draw tonight? Because it's getting drawn in about an hour's time. Who would you like to see us draw? Would you like to see us get a low league team with hopefully a decent chance of getting through to the last 16? Or would you rather take on one of the big guns at the Riverside? Or would you rather have an away day out at, say, somewhere like Stamford Bridge, Old Trafford? Won't be the Emirates because they've gone the journey, and it certainly won't be Ellen Road either because they've gone. I shouldn't be saying that they're a big club either. But anyway, Sunderland, 5 derby wins in a row. Yeah. Did it feel great to beat them again, or does it feel like as though what's going on at Sunderland?
Felt like we were playing a League Two club, to be honest. Yeah. Like some of their play was pretty embarrassing. I remember laughing at Oviedo, the whole... Oh.
Yeah, the crosses.
And obviously Coleman said before the game, we've only got 10 fit senior players. Yeah. And then 2 hours later, Grabbin's recalled, so it looks like everything's lost for them and they're going down, hopefully. So
they are having a bad time at the minute, without a doubt. What impressed you on Saturday in terms of performances? Whose performances?
I like the link-up play between Gusted and Braithwaite. I thought there was a couple of times where we went direct to Gusted, knocking it down to Braithwaite. The finish wasn't there in the end. Obviously, Adama Traore, one of his best bit of play since he's played for Boro, burst through the middle. I'd like to see him maybe play down the middle a bit more because he can run at defenders, scare him, and it was an unbelievable assist. And then obviously ex-Boro man Jason Steele got the second assist of the game, so that was quite nice to see.
Yeah, they're just having a difficult time at the minute, Sunderland, but that's them put to bed, so we're waiting for the 4th round draw tonight. Obviously, we go back to league matters on Saturday with Fulham, but you think that a cup run could go alongside having a decent...
Yeah, breeds confidence. Yeah. Obviously, it's not great if you're going to pick up injuries, but the more you're winning games, if you get to the semi-final of the FA Cup, there's no reason why it can't breed confidence for the league and you'll go in confident. You just beat a Premier League team if you're on a decent cup run. Right. Shows that you're a good side and you've got the confidence to go beat someone like Burton then. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, teams like last year, even I know it's lower down the leagues, but Lincoln, Millwall, they both got promoted from their divisions and they both got to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, so there's nothing to say that, you can't go on a decent run and still do well in the league as well.
Well, we got to the playoff final the year we beat Man City and then we got hammered by Arsenal in the end, didn't we? But we played a bit of a weakened team compared to what we played against Manchester City. Yeah,
well, Callum Morrison wants Newcastle at home in the next round, kick them out the cup. Mark Stonehouse, he wants Newport, Stevenage, Fleetwood or Shrewsbury away.
Yeah, that'll do me.
One of them, that'd be nice. Yeah, tick off a new ground. I like the sound of that. Phil Conway, Forest at home is defo going to come out in the draw.
Especially if they've got Karanka, it's 100% nailed on, isn't it?
It's going to be either Forest or West Brom, isn't it? Probably. Yeah. Something like that's going to happen tonight, definitely. So so all that to look forward to. Are you optimistic now about the future, Josh, with regards to what's going to happen for the rest of the season?
Yeah, much more optimistic now. We've got a bit of an identity about us, and you can see what we're trying to do. We've picked up 4 wins in the last 5 games, so it's more enjoyable to be a Boro fan than it was a couple of months ago, or even a couple of weeks ago, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And in terms of things like where we're going with the squad and the players, one of the questions I was thinking of recently is, I think the back 4 starting to look settled. Yeah. Obviously, goalkeeper. I think centre 2 at the minute, House and Ledbetter about settled as well. Yeah. And obviously you've got Traore who's emerged now, and it looks like he's going to make a role for himself as a key man. Yeah, Downing as well.
Loves Downing. Pulis said if we had a team of Stuart Downings in his first interview.
Wouldn't go wrong, and he has been outstanding this season
as
well.
First couple of seasons, Downing when he came back. wasn't that impressed with him, whether it was Karanka just not wanting him to play or whatever, which came out and seemed like it was that.
Yeah.
Downing's by far been our star man this season, alongside Christie, who was being left out. I quite enjoyed the link-up play between Christie and Downing down the right. But yeah, Downing's definitely been a positive of our season so far.
Do you think Christie does have a future under Tony Pulis, or do you think he's already thought, hang on a minute, I might need another right back here?
You might think he needs another right back, but with the injury wars of Danny Ayala, Shotton could be moving back there, and
true.
Christie, but he's definitely got something to offer.
Yeah. So, when we were looking there, we think most of the team's quite settled, but I think there's a bit of a question mark still about your number 10, or the man that plays behind the front man, and who is going to be the front man if he's just going to play one man up front. So you're looking, I think, maybe is it a battle between Braithwaite and Bamford for the 10 role, and then is it another battle then between Gusted and Assombalonga? Yeah. What do you think, Josh?
I think Gusted's going to be our main man, and it's whether Assombalonga or Braithwaite or Bamford play alongside him. I'd like it to be Assombalonga because he's always a goal threat. He's got how many goals this season? 15, is it already?
So he's on 12, is
12
it? 12 goals,
like that. So you can't drop a 15 million man who guarantees you goals in this league. But obviously then there's the energy of Bamford around Gusted at Preston, it showed. Braithwaite's been a pretty decent player so far, he's classy. I remember watching the first Sunderland game in the league and he was like knocking it over people's head. Look quality.
He's undoubtedly a good footballer. And I think maybe he suffered with the team. Their dip in confidence maybe was alongside his as well, because he seemed to go off the boil a little bit November, December time. But hopefully that goal on Saturday will do him the world of good. Because at the end of the day, we can't be choosy. We need as many good players as we can. And yes, we don't want to show on them just for the sake of it in the team, but we need them as part of the squad because it's a long season, like you said.
He's another one of them that you probably expect a bit more for because we paid quite a lot of money for him. But he's clearly got the quality there, and if he's linking up with Gusted more and he gets more confidence, you might see that different side to him even more so.
Definitely. Fantastic. So we've got Fulham on Saturday, another big game against another team who are also expected to be pushing for promotion this season. How do you think that one might go, Josh?
It's another tough one in the Championship where you don't know what to expect, but I think we should have enough just to get another comfortable 1-2-0 win. But you never know with Fulham. Obviously they lost at Sunderland, and then they're quite an inconsistent side, but they've got some quality players. Obviously Ryan Sessegnon's impressed, Pacey, and you never know what will happen, but I think we'll just have enough 1 or 2.
I hope you're right, because we need to go on a little bit of a run.
If we're going to get the top 2 or playoffs, we need to be consistent. Under Gary Monk we were winning, and then we'd go lose 2-0 to Bristol City or 3-0 to Millwall. So we were on and off, but now we need to show a bit more consistency.
That's it. I think if we're going to be top 2 this year now, we have to go on a run of maybe 5-6 games winning, or certainly winning 4 and drawing 2. We can't afford this win 1, lose 1, which we were getting into in November time. We certainly feel a lot more optimistic with Tony Pulis in charge now, and I think even if we got to the playoffs, would you settle for the playoffs this season? Do you think that would be a fair?
Obviously, definitely settle for the playoffs given the current circumstances. But I don't think the second spot is off.
Right.
But I'd definitely set for the playoff places, 100%.
Excellent, fantastic, excellent. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed this evening's programme on BoroFanTV. Just 1 or 2 things before we go tonight. I'd like to say a happy 50th birthday from everyone at BoroFanTV and all the Boro fans. To Gary Parkinson, Boro legend, so all the best for Wednesday, Gary. Also, I'd like to plug our YouTube channel. If you enjoy BoroFanTV, make sure you subscribe to it. There's also a live show coming up soon on the 31st of January. That is at the Maverick Sports Bar, so please come along to that if you can. That's from 7 to 8. So thanks for watching this evening. Enjoyed the show. All your feedback, much appreciated. Thank you very much. Don't forget, next week, Red and White, you and me, from 6, BoroFanTV. All the best.